Okay, we're all set. Thank you for coming today. Go ahead, Joe.
Fantastic. Hey, good morning. Thank you everyone for getting up this morning and joining us here for our special Temecula Valley region-wide meeting. We've got some special guests today from our affiliate Legendary Escrow. We've got Harmony and Jody with us right from next door here, but they are on camera. If you all say hi to Jody and Harmony over there. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I was just over chatting with Jody a little bit, and we didn't give her any fair warning on the questions, so they're being blindsided, but I did reassure them that everything we're going to talk about today is something they've probably dealt with in the last 24 hours. So, we wanted to have this special meeting for a couple of reasons, and one is it's a good time to just kind of reinforce our relationship with Legendary Escrow. They do so much to support us, and we appreciate them just so incredibly. They make us look good, keep our transactions running smoothly and safely, and just help us with so many things. We'll talk about some more benefits of that maybe a little bit later. But we've also found that there's a lot of craziness going on right now. We've got some crazy transactions, some wow transactions. We've got some fast ones. We've got some slow ones. And with all transactions, there's always some things that pop up and surprise us every now and then. So we're going to talk about how we can better maybe anticipate some of those things, better understand some of the circumstances that may come up. And so we're going to start off with talking about something we deal with quite often. And these are representative capacities, where someone is acting in a representative capacity in a transaction, and that representation could be that they are the trustee of their own trust. It could be that they're a power of attorney. It could be that they're a successor trustee of a trust. And it could be that the property was held by an LLP or LLC, it's in a corporation's name. But ultimately, anytime someone is acting in a representative capacity for a property or ownership, or even as a buyer, we have some special things we need to deal with. So Jody and Harmony, can you guys just address some of the things that we should already be preparing for, maybe when we take a listing and we realize that it's held in a trust, or that the person we're working with, the representative, is maybe a successor trustee of a trust? What kind of things should we be addressing right up front to make your jobs easier?
Okay, very good question. If it's in a trust, generally, if it's in a trust, the original trustees are still acting as the trustees, then generally we don't need a copy of the trust agreement itself. However, if you are dealing with a successor trustee, or one of the trustees is deceased, then we will need a copy of usually the full trust agreement. And I know that it can be many pages, but unfortunately that's just to protect them. We're making sure that whoever is supposed to act as a successor trustee is actually doing so. Again, generally, we like to have that up front because we like to make sure that everything goes out accurate the first time from the get-go.
So we like to try to avoid
No, good.
Having to piecemeal the sellers. If we can send them everything at one time, that's our preference.
Exactly.
But basically, in a nutshell, if there's no one's deceased, if there's someone that's deceased, we need a copy of the trust and death certificate. Then we'll follow the necessary documents.
Yeah, because there's documentation, especially when you're dealing with deceased. There's documentation that we need to draw, and we cannot draw that until we actually see a copy of the death certificate itself. We will need the original death certificate prior to close of escrow, but in the beginning, if we have just a copy of it, that's perfect. It makes it so much easier. Again, like Harmony said, that way we're not piecemealing out to the seller. We're not piecemealing out, here's the grantee. Oh, now I have the affidavit of death. We want to have everything in one package. So the more we can get in the very beginning, the better. Same with if you're dealing with LLCs or things like that. Their their LLC documentation, title will need to see that. So we need that as well.
So that's it.
Yeah, and that all can be emailed. But again, it's just good to have as much of that up front as we can, because that way we're drawing the documents correctly. We don't have to go back and do any fixing, any piecework, piecemeal and everything after that.
Terrific, terrific. In the case of where one of the parties on title, whether it be a trustee or just a regular natural owner that is deceased, for those documents, is it best, or do you require that both of the parties that are on title be on the purchase agreement with the surviving spouse signing only their side? Are they signing both sides? What do you need to see?
I believe as far as on our end, we would only need to see the surviving person, the one that we are actually dealing with. It doesn't really, for us on our end, make sense to have both of them listed if one of them is deceased. So yeah, really, we would just require the one surviving person that's on title to sign.
And in what cases where there's type of ownership, as far as how they're carrying title, would you need more than just a signature and a death certificate? Say, for example, if it was a community property without the right of survivorship or joint tenancy without the right of survivorship, what would you need in those circumstances?
Again, more just if they're two people on title and one is deceased, again, we would just need the death certificate. And then we would draw the appropriate paperwork to be recorded through our file, correcting the title and that we're deeding it off correctly. So that would be usually the affidavit of death. Really, I don't believe anything else we would need. Yeah, it would just be mainly it doesn't really make a difference as far as their vesting on our end. And we would just need the death certificate. That's the most important.
Okay, perfect. Now, in the case of power of attorney, someone's acting as a power of attorney, what types of power of attorney qualify to act in that capacity for the transaction of real estate or the transfer of real estate?
Generally, what we need is a specific power of attorney. Specific power of attorney, generally specific for this property.
Yeah, spells out the property that it versus.
Yeah, and what we always do is when we are provided with a power of attorney, I immediately forward it to title to make sure that they are okay with it as well. I prefer to have their authorization to use that. But again, it really does need to be a general power of attorney. 99% of the time does not work. Now, when you're dealing with military, usually the military attorneys, military power of attorneys, yeah, usually those are acceptable. Whether they're, I believe we've even seen it as general, yeah, but they're military power of attorneys, and those are usually acceptable as well. There's just different rules in regards to that. But again, that's why we like to make sure that we forward it to title, and we do that in the early stages of the transaction. That way we're not having anything last minute come up. Oh, wait a minute, we can't use this.
And then they also like to know, title is going to want to know why the person signs for that.
Yes, title always wants, good point. Title always wants to know why we're using the power of attorney.
Sure. No, and that's a great point. We've got Michelle Markham here on the call as well. And for everyone, as you're taking listings and you see these special circumstances arising, just highly recommended that you reach out to Michelle and share with her the information you have, whether it be the power of attorney or whether it be the cover page of the trust or the whole trust, whatever it is you have. Always a good idea to just make contact with Michelle, share that information with her, and make sure that everything's in order. It really helps to eliminate surprises down the road. While we're already in escrow, that's not the time to find out we have issues. It's really better to deal with it up front. So we appreciate Michelle jumping in there, being available for those things as well. And we'll get your take on some of this too as we wrap up, Michelle. So we appreciate you being here. In talking about some of those things, we've been running into some special circumstances with last minute lender conditions. And, some of those things may be just related to the property. Maybe it's some corrections. Maybe the appraiser needs to make a visit back out because the carbon monoxide detector wasn't mounted properly or wasn't, there or something like that. And we've have one situation we're dealing with currently that involves a kind of a zombie debt that has showed up on a preliminary title report. And it's one of these cases where the debt has been satisfied, and yet the maker or the beneficiary of the debt is no longer around to now remove it from title. And so we're having to do some special steps to take care of that. In that situation, what would be the solution to that? And then what other types of last minute surprises like that have we been experiencing lately?
As far as the solution, that one I actually would have Michelle answer that, because that's definitely a title concern more than an escrow concern. And I know there's different things that, you know, that they advise us to advise our clients to do in those types of situations. I don't know if she wants to answer that now.
Or kind of documentation everyone's gonna accept, or
Yeah, exactly.
Case by case, it just really depends on, you know, a lot of different factors. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. We would definitely point that over to title or Michelle.
Okay,
Yeah.
Michelle, do you want to jump, just talk about that particular situation where, how would you resolve an exception that pops up on a preliminary title late in an escrow? How would we resolve it, and how much time would it take to do something like that?
Okay, Joe. So right now we're starting to see a few different instances from the market that we're coming out of. So in title, I always like to tell my agents there's no such thing as mortgage heaven. So if it's showing on our chain, we can't magically eliminate it, although we would love to be able to do that. We can't. We're ensuring clear title to our new purchaser, so we need to make sure that everything is buttoned up. So what we're starting to see now, and you know, it's such a blessing to be able to work alongside Harmony and Jody. We go so far back that it makes getting through the difficult times a little bit easier working together. So what we're starting to see right now is we had the loan modifications. We had the first mortgages and the second mortgages. They did the loan modifications. Sometimes the second mortgage was forgiven, but that lender did not release that from the property chain. So we're starting to see a lot of that. That takes a lot of time, effort, and energy. And I don't have a problem with, you know, rolling up our sleeves. However, this is not something we could do midway through a transaction. We need to start working on this when we get the profile and notice, or the client agent goes on the listing appointment. And, you know, you need to have that discussion with your clients. Oh, I see you have 2 mortgages. You know, use that property profile as a sounding board to what is coming. So if you see 2 mortgages on that property profile, you'll want to go ahead and start that conversation at the listing appointment, because we don't want to wait until we're already a few weeks in. We get our prelim, you know, by the time we get around to going over the prelim, then we realize that there's 2 mortgages when we can already get involved early on. So what we need to do is I work side by side with Audrey. We figure out where that second is. In a lot of cases, even though they were forgiven, those lenders proceeded to sell those loans to other mortgage companies or collection agencies. So we are starting to pick up the pieces. I have had probably 6 of these transactions in the last 2 months. So I've probably spent 60 hours on the phone with mortgage companies trying to figure out where those loans are. We need to be able to either get a 0 demand or a full reconveyance. We haven't been so lucky to get the 0 demands. There has been actually money owed on those seconds, so we do get a demand. So the seller sometimes doesn't get as much money as what they had thought originally from the sale, but each transaction is completely different. But we're here to work on it together. A lot of times the clients don't even have their loan modification paperwork, so we have to kind of go through and investigate what actually happened. So, and again, I'm here for you guys early on. I don't mind making the phone calls. It seems like a lot of these situations are going through the same lender, so that makes it a little bit easier. We're starting to build relationships with those lenders. So again, you know, escrow and title, we can work together with the agent and the clients to be able to fix our problems.
Terrific. And you know, again, both of you work very well together. Landwood and Legendary work hand in hand, and we appreciate how easily that works. Appreciate the advanced information too. So what my takeaway on this is, again, as agents, we need to look very carefully at our property profile when we first are taking listings, and very carefully at the preliminary title report as soon as it comes through. And with any questions on those, we certainly need to address them early rather than just assuming they're going to resolve themselves. So Michelle does a number of classes throughout the months on preliminary title report and property profile reports. And if you haven't been to one recently, it might be a good time to jump on one of the next ones that Michelle is going to hold to just get a refresher on where to look for the red flags and what kind of red flags to look for. It's really one of our responsibilities, is to look carefully at those preliminary title reports and make sure that there are no surprises on there, and whatever surprises do come up, that we're proactively addressing. So great answer, Michelle. Appreciate your feedback on that.
And real quick, Joe, a lot of times I know Michelle has we've run into it, and Michelle has run into it. A lot of times sellers will have an equity line of credit on their against the property, and they actually kind of forget about it. There's a lot of times that, yeah, because it's something that they're not necessarily using, or they've never used it, it's just on their property, so they don't think about it when we're asking for all their current mortgage information. A lot of times they just forget. So again, you know, I agree with Michelle. If you're looking at your prelim, if you're looking at your property profile, you see to just question that up front, because it's come back a lot of times that we will get the seller's information back, and there will only be one loan reference to the information they provided, but we have more than one on the property. So, and most of the time, those are home equity line of credits. So,
And those can come back to bite you.
Yep.
They will hold your funds if you have
yes.
the amount of your line of credit.
Good, yes, good point. When we have, just as a side note, when we're in escrow and we do have a home equity line of credit, if there is credit still available on that equity line, and we cannot confirm via the payoff statement or just a letter from the mortgage company itself that that line of credit has been frozen as of our date of payoff, title will hold the difference between the original amount that was taken out on that home equity line of credit and the balance due, until they can confirm that the line of credit has been paid in full and closed. So that's just something to keep in mind. We do look, when we get our payoff statements, we do try and take a look and see if it is referenced on our payoff statement, but I'm going to tell you 99% of the lenders out there do not put that on their payoffs. So we do try and obtain a letter from that company. But again, a lot of the times they will not deal with us. They will, because we are just a third party. They'll provide a payoff statement to us, but they won't provide a letter stating that it has been paid in full. So sometimes we do have to go back to the clients and ask them, I'm sorry, can you please contact your mortgage company and have them provide us with the just a letter. It's an email or a letter, just something stating that it's been, that the line of credit has been frozen. And if we do get that, title will not have to hold those funds. So that's something else to think about as well, because a lot of times, again, they're thinking they're going to get a certain amount of money, but when we go to wire out the proceeds, we can't send all that at that time. So just something to think about.
Okay. No, very good. Very good. Yeah, we're seeing more of the line of credits pop up now than we did maybe 6, 8, 10 years ago. So we're seeing more of those come up again now that there's been some equity in the homes. People have been remodeling them, renovating them. So that's a good thing to look for. Great question to ask at the listing appointment, or even before, if you're preparing a seller's net sheet to take with you to the listing appointment. Good information to have to have that as a talking point, and that this may be something we'll need to address, prior to getting to escrow, or certainly immediately upon getting into escrow. So good and great feedback. Any other last minute lender conditions that are popping up that are problematic? We have the normal lender conditions that come that are pre-doc, pre-funding, et cetera, but anything unusual that's come up recently?
I know we had one where there was supposed to be some work done on a roof, and the lender we had it all set up, had an addendum done through the file that we were paying those contractors at Close of Escrow. Everything was done. But the work was not going to be done before the file closed. The lender, well, I'm going to say the loan officer, was okay with that. And that's why the loan officer actually had advised the agent to prepare the addendum. However, when we got down to funding, the funder was not okay with that, and the underwriter was not okay with that. So things like that, a lot of times, if there's work to be done, chances are your lender is not going to fund until that work has been completed, and they can send their appraiser back out to confirm that that work has been completed. Because we had even provided the paid in full statements, I'm not paid in full, the invoices that the work had been done. The lender was still not okay with that. They had their appraiser go back out and confirm that the work had been done. So that is a last minute. We've had that a few times. So again, just keep in mind any work on the property that needs to be done, if it's a lender requirement.
Anything at all, really, the lender has to approve.
Yeah.
Just don't. The lender,
Yeah.
even last we see like last minute credits or stuff like that, where we're at docs and they're trying to do credits and stuff, we cannot do that. The
Can't
lender
do
has
that.
to approve everything.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that happens a lot. And I know it's hard for you guys as agents to understand, and you think it's just easy. Oh, well, there's this, whatever going on inside. Well, let's just credit them. Well, unfortunately, when we are already at docs or very close to it, the file's already been through underwriting, chances are that's not going to fly, because we have to put it on our statement. The lender is going to see that. However, that's not how that file was approved through underwriting. So if we do that, chances are that's going to have to go back through underwriting and cause delays. So that is something to keep in mind. And I know that sometimes it's just unavoidable, but if there's anything you guys can do about those last minute credits, not having for us to have to do that, it does help, or it just expect a delay. It's not a problem on our end, but it just may cause a delay.
Yeah, absolutely. As listing agents, we need to make sure that requests for repairs are addressed early, that the buyer has completed their inspections and they've got the request for repairs in early. And if there are any credits to be dealt with, that they're dealt with early in the transaction. And just know that when we're working through a fast close, let's say it's a 21, 23-day escrow, there's not a lot of time to negotiate those things and not have it cause a delay. Docs were already drawn up and they've got to go back and redraw docs and go the 3 days. So yeah, just be diligent, be proactive.
Absolutely. And then as far as that, you mentioned the request for repairs, also keep in mind, if you put a credit on a request for repairs or the RRRR, that is something that we would have to provide to the lender if that's what we're going to do for our file. So again, you might not want to give us that. You might want to do an addendum instead of the request for repairs or the RRRR. Because if we show that to the lender, that could again cause red flags for them, and again, possible delays. So just something else. I know a lot of agents do that already, and we greatly appreciate it. But yeah, just something to keep in mind when you are dealing with things like that with requests for repairs.
Yeah, exactly. What we're referring to there is if the buyer's requesting 4 or 5 items and there's just not time to deal with it, and so the seller says, we'll just give you $2,000 credit for that, the lender's going to look at those items on the repair list and say, wait a minute, we're not okay underwriting a loan on a property that has these deficiencies, and they're going to want them cleaned up. So what we're saying here is, rather than negotiate the credit on the request for repairs, just reject the request for repairs and move the credit to an addendum and say that the seller is giving the buyer a $2,000 credit towards closing costs. But yeah,
Keywords there, closing costs, not repairs.
yeah, not for repairs, not for deficiencies, not for anything else, but yeah, for repair, for closing costs. Because if they see that there's unaddressed repairs, they're going to want to see them done. So yeah, absolutely. Glad you brought that up. Perfect. Perfect. Let's talk about HOA docs for a second, because again, I hear all the time, everyone is stunned and shocked by how much the HOA docs are costing. And I thought there was some legislation that locked down the HOAs. They couldn't charge these amounts anymore. So we know how that's happened. The HOAs were charging exorbitant fees and actually making it a profit center for the HOA to prepare these docs. So legislation came out and said the HOA can only charge what it costs them to get the docs. So many of them have now farmed out the docs to third-party companies that manage the HOA docs, and then they charge the $800 for the HOA docs. But some of the things that we've come up with on this are a couple of points. One is on short escrows, what can we do to make sure we get HOA docs quickly? We know there's expedite options, but is there anything that agents that we should be doing in advance to anticipate that? Maybe can we get things moving in advance? Maybe we're accepting the offer. Is it possible for the seller to go ahead and just order the docs directly from the HOA, pay the fees, but have the docs routed to you in anticipation of you needing them?
I don't think that's going to work, only because most of the time, the HOA companies, management companies that we're dealing with, they don't usually take any requests like that from the seller directly.
So they're fine with the
Good
seller payment directly.
Yeah.
Most of them are giving that option now, where the sellers can go online, or, you know, do PayPal or whatever, but they want the actual request to come from escrow.
Right.
And plus, if they're ordering it on their own, they might not know all the documents. We have to provide a full set of documents, including minutes, bylaws, everything, and not their old stuff that they got when they bought. We need all the new stuff, the most up-to-date and current stuff to be able to pass on to the new buyer.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, and again, you know, there's, in addition to those documents, there's the demand, the most important part for us. That's what we need. Right. And again, that's something that, you know, those companies will give to us. I would say the most important thing, which again, so many of our agents do, and we greatly appreciate you guys, on our take sheets, you know, give us as much of the HOA information as you have, so that, you know, we're not, if it's an HOA that we don't normally use, we have to go Google and we have to look. We don't have like a database or anything like that for HOA. So if, you know, you guys don't know who it is, we're trying to search, and, you know, a lot of times it's hard to find. It's not as easy as you would think it would be.
But I agree. So most of our agents do that.
Yes,
they
do.
let us know.
It's so helpful.
But that is the best thing you can do. Just let us know when you're opening escrow who the HOA is, and take it from there.
Yeah, if they're, you know, who the HOA is, and or management company, or a phone number. You know, if you have any of that, that's so helpful.
Yeah, where that question came from is what has happened is legislation happened a couple of years ago, and because of the exorbitant fees that HOAs were charging for these documents, a little known piece of legislation went through and said that sellers, if they've retained all of their HOA docs, all of their meeting minutes, all their financial statements, and all their CC&Rs, sellers can provide those documents directly to the buyer. We don't recommend that. And so if anyone out there has been recommending their client do that, or that they can save a few dollars by doing that, we absolutely do not recommend that, because there might be something that they've missed. And maybe it was a special meeting, maybe it was a discussion about assessments that were being changed on the HOA, or there's a special assessment coming out. That's just not the place we want to be. So yeah, the questions have been coming up is what can we do to either better prepare for fast escrows and needing HOA docs, and also in those cases, can the seller just bundle up all their documents and hand them over to the buyer? We've said no, we don't recommend that, just for risk management purposes. We want to make sure that the HOA is responsible for ensuring that every document required is provided. Yeah, good question. Also about second HOAs. We've seen in a couple of cases where we've had escrows with other companies have closed, and they've ignored a second HOA. The seller kind of knew about it, but didn't think about it. And in our area, there's a few areas that have double HOAs. For example, parts of Harveston will have double HOAs. Parts of Canyon Lake will have double HOAs. A lot of French Valley will have double HOAs. And so we've got to make sure that we're, again, looking very carefully at the preliminary title report for, in those exceptions, for those recorded deeds, clicking on them, reading into them, seeing what they apply to. From an agent's perspective, early on in the transaction, what can we do to be, again, diligent to make sure that we're preparing those opening statements and statements of information better for you in the cover page?
I just really just providing us with whatever information that you guys have.
And if you don't know, you think there might be or maybe possibly even that, so we know that, okay, well, let's look into that a little bit more. Yeah, just some kind of a heads up so we know, because we don't know anything about the HOAs. We never see the property, nothing. So we take all of our information from where to sell it.
Yeah, and a lot of times when we do go and order, if there are two HOAs, if there's a master and a sub HOA, sometimes the HOA, when we go in to order the documents for the master, it will note, there'll be a notation on there. Don't forget there's a sub association. But a lot of the times that those two associations are not even managed by the same company. So then that causes, it's very easy to miss that. If we have no clue and the agent hasn't told us, the seller hasn't told us on their information sheet, because again, that is one of the sheets that we do provide in our opening package, is, requesting their mortgage information, all their HOA information, things like that. But if we don't have it on there, we have no clue of knowing. If we've got those three things that are nobody's telling us, we would have no clue and not even know that we're missing one. So yeah, I agree with Harmony. If you think at all that there is, if your sellers think at all that there is a sub HOA, just let us know and we'll kind of try and do some further investigation. But yeah, otherwise we would have no clue.
Sure. Also, just a note for everyone is some things we've run into recently is there are some areas that don't technically have HOAs, but have special service districts. And maybe it's a community service district that has been created that has its own sets of CC&Rs, such as the Tanaha area or La Cresta or Duluth, and some of those areas where they've created their own CC&Rs. And when you read into the CC&Rs, they look very much like an HOA, but people will sometimes miss them because they don't consider them to be an HOA. So again, another reason we really need to look at every item on the preliminary title report and open those documents, read through them, and make sure our clients are not just digisigning a preliminary title report without having actually read each of the recorded documents that are assigned to it. So good points there. Before we jump in, I've got one last question here, but I've got a couple of feedbacks here in the chat. So question here is, can you explain or give a little more information on successor of trusts where they need to, they're required to obtain a checking account and an EIN number for the estate, and all of that done before the close of escrow. So that's something that is a good thing to talk about. Can you address that?
Yes, absolutely. It is a very good topic to discuss. First of all, when we have a trust that is on title, we are always going to make the proceeds payable to the trust. So we have a disclosure that goes out in our opening packages, but again, sometimes it is missed. But it's very important for you to be discussing with your clients if you're at the listing appointment or early on a transaction. If they do not have a bank account in the name of that trust, they need to get one, and they need to get one right away, because we have to make them payable to the trust, because in actuality, it's the trust that's selling the property. It's not the individuals, it's the trust itself. So we have to make those proceeds payable to the trust. We've had it where some of our clients very easily just went into their bank, and on their regular checking account or savings account, they add the trust to it. That's something that has seemed to work very well for a lot of our past clients. Doesn't seem very difficult. Instead of actually opening a whole new account for the trust itself, they just add it on. It's basically just so when we either make a check or wire their proceeds payable, they're not gonna have any problems getting those funds put into their bank account. As far as successor trustee, very, very important. Once once the original trustees are deceased of the trust and you're dealing with a successor trustee, that successor trustee does need to get an EIN number for the trust itself. So that's going to be their tax number that they are dealing with and that they're going to provide to us for all of the tax forms. Again, because once the trustees are deceased, we cannot use that trust. Most of the time it's their social security number. We won't be able to use that any longer. So they have to actually obtain an EIN number. Again, from our feedback, it doesn't seem like it's a very difficult thing to do. Most of the time when they've asked us, we have Googled it. You just Google how to obtain an EIN and it walks you through. And it, again, doesn't seem like it's a very hard task to do. But it does take a little time. So again, that's something that's very good to do early on. And again, that is when you're dealing with a successor trustee of the trust. Something else you can do? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I hope Lori, that answers your question in regards to that. Lori.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's great. Great feedback there. So, and again, because we've got this great relationship with you guys and with Landwood, as we come into these situations, make sure everybody reach out. We're getting great information here, but when you're live in the situation, make sure you really proactively reaching out, getting help, getting some feedback and support, some direction. It's just going to make the transaction easier for us as agents, but certainly for our clients. And that's the most important thing, is make sure that we're getting what we need from them early on, so it's not a last minute scramble and everybody's under pressure. Oh my gosh, I forgot to do the EIN number. Remember, people get so excited about being in escrow that they forget everything else. Once they say you've got an accepted offer, you're in escrow, the ears just get shut off. And so make sure that we're addressing these things early on. A good rule of thumb to follow. The last question we had on the list here was related to occupancy after the close of escrow. So we're having a lot of these rent backs using the RLAS, where the seller's remaining in the property for 30 days, sometimes up to 60 days. And just a note for everyone, not a good idea to write an RLAS for more than 60 days. Most lenders, in fact, every lender I know, is going to require that the seller be out of the property within 60 days and the buyer have possession of the property. So we wouldn't do any more than 60 days, but in many cases now we're seeing these come through, and maybe it's just a few $1,000s, maybe it's $100 a day, but in many cases right now it's free. So the sellers are asking to remain in these properties for free for 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, with a security deposit, without a security deposit. I just want to give some feedback first before we get into the question, but when we're doing these things as agents, I just strongly recommend that we establish a rent rate, even if it's free. Let's say we're going to give them 45 days in the property for free, but on the 46th day, rent becomes $150 a day or $200 a day. And the reason we said that, we've talked about this with Darren a little bit, and what we're trying to establish is damages. If we just say, hey, you stay for 60 days for free, and they stay 90 days, what do you establish the damages on? Because you never agreed to a rent rate. So that's just something for contractual stuff. When you're doing the RLAS, let's figure out what the next day costs. And that's something we could use if the seller doesn't vacate. But from your standpoint on these RLASs, we've had some last minute issues where the seller says, well, no, I don't want that taken out of my proceeds. I want to just pay it directly to the buyer, or I don't want to pay it to the buyer. I want it taken out of my proceeds. Or at the last minute, they knew they were staying for free, but now they're upset that they're having to pay a security deposit. So what have you seen, and have any of those things held us up at the last minute because of some of those concerns or questions?
Personally, on my transactions, I have not seen anything come back at last minute like that. I haven't run into that problem with any of mine. Have you run into any? Yeah, normally it's just whatever is on the RLAS that we just follow. And to be honest with you, can't say that I've had any problems at the last minute in regards to that.
Good.
I apologize. I don't really have a good answer for that because
That's a perfect answer. No, that's a perfect answer because the challenges we've had have not been with Legendary. They've been outside escrows who did overlook the deposit and the rent, miscalculated the rent, didn't withhold it from the seller's proceeds. We've had a number of those situations, not with Legendary. So you made my point perfectly. You guys are not missing those things. If you're working with outside escrows, be very careful, everybody, because those things are the last minute calculations that were overlooked. So, no, perfect answer. Thank you.
Joe, I have a question.
Yes, Debbie.
Okay, I have been doing a lot of mobile homes lately on leased land. And so I have two questions. When is Legendary going to be able to do those? Because I've been going to outside escrows and they're terrible. Jody, you spoil me. Oh my God, I have to do their job practically. But I wish you guys would do those. And also, is there a prelim on a leased land?
That's a good question, Debbie. Yeah, Michelle, do you know by chance if there's a prelim on leased land? Because again, since we don't do them, I just don't have a lot of information about them. And I don't know if we will do them.
Our other Legendary branch does do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, is she still doing them? I will have to double check if Anaheim is doing those, and we can confirm back with you guys. I know at one point they were doing it. They have a bigger staff than we do. And I think that's why they were working on those. But
Yeah, I heard the girl that was doing it left.
oh. Okay. I do know there's some things in the works with that office as well. So let me check on that for you guys and we'll get back to you and let you know on that.
Okay.
But as far as prelim, Michelle, do you know that answer?
So it's just going to depend on if the mobile is like within a community. The land that we would show on that would be for the whole entire community. You know, it's just each one is completely different. I mean, we do issue prelims on leasehold estate, you know, not in that circumstance. So it just, leasehold land is different when you're talking about, you know, a community that has, you know, the lease with the mobiles. Again, you'd get the prelim for the whole entire community, which would not be helpful.
Yeah.
So again,
Okay, thank you.
comes from a legal description. And again, with those types of environments, it's for the whole entire parcel.
Right. You're just basically renting the parking space, and the structure itself is what's transferring. It's transferring through HCD, and yeah, so it's a little different process. But yeah, I wouldn't expect that you'd have a prelim, and the prelim you would receive if you did pursue one would be for the entire property, like Michelle's talking about. And that might be interesting to see, to make sure that the park itself is healthy and doesn't have an abundance of issues. But really all you're purchasing is the structure, and you're agreeing to continue to rent the space that it's parked on. So, no, very good. Good question. All right. Well, let's wrap up with
Joe, can I ask a real quick question? It's Jill.
Sure, Jill.
Okay, so I just want to reiterate, going back to that property profile or the title report. So if I take a listing and I see they have a second on their home, do I need to like immediately let Michelle know once I pull the property profile, and just to make sure there's no issues, like right up at front? Is that what you guys were saying?
I would think the first step, if you pull up a property profile and you see a second, would be to address it with the homeowner and make sure that, one, they're aware of it and that they acknowledge the status of it. Oh, wait, I forgot about that, but we paid that off a long time ago. It's just an open equity line. Or, oh, that's right, no, we negotiated that second out and it doesn't exist anymore. And that's what we get. That's the response we get from them. And it's like, no, it's still there. but maybe they forgave it, or maybe they paused it, or maybe they, you know, it may have been a workout. So it's first start with the homeowner to see what their knowledge of it is, and then second, you make sure that it's on the take sheet, the cover page that goes to escrow when we open escrow, so that they're aware of it and they can research it, make sure it has been paid off. Or if it really has been forgiven, we're probably going to ask the homeowner to contact the lender, the lien holder, and ask for that notice of payoff or forgiveness, so that escrow has that.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, either one of you, Jody or Michelle.
No, yeah, that's correct. A lot of times that's when you do come into the problems, is if once you are discussing that with your homeowner and they don't know anything about it or they forgot about it, chances are that means they're not making a payment on it. Chances are that means we're not just going to get a quick payoff statement on it. That means we're probably going to have to do some digging and, you know, some different contacting of different departments, like Michelle was stating earlier. So yeah, definitely, especially if they don't know about it, that definitely bring it up to either escrow or title.
Okay, thank you. And if they say, oh, well, it's been forgiven, then we need to also let you guys know to make sure that it truly is.
Yeah, because even if it's been forgiven, or especially with the home equity line of credits, if it's been paid in full, that doesn't mean, it's obviously still, something is still recorded on the property, meaning that the correct documentation was not recorded to remove it from the property. So that means, again, that's where we're going to have to get down and different departments and find out what we need. We need to get those release documents so we can record them, because we have to transfer clear title. We can't transfer it with that before we close.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
We've got another comment in the chat here, that one particular transaction we're dealing with right now with a quote zombie loan that popped up did not show up on the property profile, as you know, the case many times, but it was in the prelim. So again, just a reminder, everybody, look at your prelims very, very closely. All right, well, if do you have anything you'd like to share, anything you guys have experienced recently, anything we can do again to make this communication easier for you guys?
No, I really do. We really do appreciate all the agents, because we do feel you guys are very good about providing us with information. And again, it's so much, you know, on that take sheet. That take sheet is so important to complete as much information as you have on it, because then again, we are getting the whole story from the get-go. We're not, you know, I'm not opening a file, getting it ready to go, and then I get my prelim, and then all of a sudden, who's this person? Or, you know, I have someone on title that I don't have on the contract, and
Yeah, avoid that having to bug you guys too.
it does, exactly. It just, yeah, we can, it just makes it so much smoother the more information we have from the get-go. You know, little notes on the bottom, or just an email when you open it, anything like that. Any information you can provide to us, it's always fast.
Terrific.
So, you guys are all very good about doing that. And again, we do appreciate all of you very much. And we appreciate this.
Well, we appreciate you very much. And again, the relationship we have with Legendary is amazing. Anyone who has done a transaction with anyone other than Legendary, you know what we're talking about. We have a special relationship for a reason. It's to make sure that our transactions go very smoothly, that our clients receive the highest level of service and support that they can get. And so we appreciate you very much. Jody and Harmony, thank you. We know you guys have been very, very busy. We appreciate you taking time out this morning to join us. And we appreciate the special relationship that you've got with Landwood Title and Michelle Markham. You guys are just fantastic. Thank you all.
Absolutely, and we greatly appreciate that relationship as well. It's very nice to be able to work with Landwood. We've been working with them for so long that between the two of us, we kind of each just know what's needed or expected, or we know just a quick phone call or email can get that answer. It's very nice. When we work with other companies, we don't really like that. We appreciate that even more. No offense to other title companies, but when you just have, it's just different. It's a good relationship. And again, like you said, it just makes the whole transaction smoother. And that's what we want to do. We want to make it as smooth as possible for everyone involved. So again, thank you guys as well.
We so appreciate that. We really do. Really do. Thank you. And thank you for your time this morning. Everyone stick around. We've got another little presentation here, a special bonus today. So thank you, Jody and Harmony. Thank you, Michelle. We have Chris Weeder. Chris, I see you're on the call. I saw you earlier. There you go. Hello, Chris. Chris Weeder is our corporate trainer, and if you, if any of you have not had the opportunity and the privilege of spending time with Chris in the virtual trainings that he's been doing, I strongly recommend that you join in on those trainings. You get the calendar each Sunday in your email. Make sure to save those links and join Chris. He's just a wealth of wisdom. He's the master of our VAC, and we appreciate all of your support, and we're looking forward to seeing you back live in the field very soon. So good morning, Chris.
Yes, I'm fully vaccinated, so hopefully they'll give me the green light to go back out. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing? Doing good. It's great to see all of you guys. I'm going to tell you guys, I actually have been coming down into the Temecula Valley, French Valley area over the last couple of months to show buyers some properties. And wow, your market is on fire. I can't believe I show up and my appointment's at 2 o'clock. We don't actually to get into the house till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So you guys are on fire down there. And actually, Michelle is my rep out of my office in Rancho. So I always write Michelle into my contracts, and Jody, I've been writing in that too, because it's great to have different locations for escrow and have different officers that really do work hard for us. So it's really great. So how's everybody doing? I just totally miss you guys. I can't wait to come back out to you guys and see you guys. So hopefully soon. I don't have a release date yet for me, but definitely I'm available, guys, through phone call, emails. I do private little 30-minute class. So definitely reach out to me through email is probably the best to get a hold of me right now. If I'm not available, Lorette Mormon or Mary Sand, who also do what I do in Arizona and Nevada, they will come out and help you guys. They will definitely assist you. So it's great to have you guys. I just wanted to kind of show you guys some things that we have to offer you as Berkshire Hathaway agents, and things that we definitely, just being a part of our company, we have so many great products. And I'm a licensed realtor myself, so I use this products for myself. So I'm gonna show you guys how I use it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I love questions. If you feel uncomfortable asking, email me. It's, whatever stays in email with me. So that's great. Am I allowed to share my screen, sir?
Absolutely, please.
Hold on.
Shannon's gonna have to give you permission there. Give me a second.
Okay. Shannon, I met an agent that worked with you at Century 21 over the weekend, and I'm recruiting her to come work at Berkshire Hathaway with you. So I'll be calling you.
Right on.
So highly of you. So I told her, well, Berkshire Hathaway then, right?
Right. Okay, you're good.
Awesome. Let me see if I can find there it is. All right, guys. So I wanted to give you guys kind of an update of what's going on with the VAC system. We have some really great features coming out for you. Not to stress, it's not something that you have to learn and master. It's just things to help you with your business. So one thing that has come out in the last couple of weeks, and we've tweaked it a little bit for you, is the daily activity report. This is sent to you every morning. About 8, 9 o'clock is when it's supposed to go out to you. And this is just gonna let you know what is going on with your VEC business and your clients that are on your system. This is kind of the mirror image of what you would see on your VEC under the Home tab and an Activity Tracker dashboard. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or the education email, which is provided on this email right here. And to kind of give you an idea of what this is all about and why you're getting it every day, is it's a naughty note from your manager saying that, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The managers are probably going to give me a phone call. It's not a naughty note. It's just a friendly reminder, a helpful tool to motivate you and let you know what's going on with your business. So the first part of this email will be if you have been provided any leads the day before or in the last 7 days. It's going to provide you all that information. So you see, I had a customer who in the last 7 days did a new registration. They visited my website or the company website and registered as an online customer. As I continue through this email, you're going to go ahead and see any report activity. So this would be your listing alerts, the wonderful neighborhood reports, market reports, or quarter reports. This is going to give you an idea who has been on it in the last 24 hours or in the last 7 days and what properties or what kind of activity they did. So we track your customers on your system. And again, this is actually my real live, my own VEC real estate one. So I'm really showing you how you really get that data for you. As you scroll down, you're going to go ahead and see how many emails have been sent out, how many listing alerts, how many neighborhood reports. So I had 252 neighborhood reports go out in the last 24 hours. And I also have, if I had market reports, quarterly reports, sellers reports. I really recommend, guys, seller reports where you can send your seller what is going on with the traffic of their web traffic. This includes Zillow, it includes Realtor.com, it includes other different companies, gives that data to your customers, show them what you're doing to get their home sold. You also have the ability to see the drip campaign emails. How many emails are being sent out? These are emails that you're sending out through the marketing tab under drip campaign letters. This will not show you, unfortunately, the ones that are under the contact email. So it's contacts then emails. It won't show you on that one, but it will definitely show you on drip campaigns. So a lot of you that are doing drip campaigns, which I receive them a lot because I'm in your guys' contact books, and I love that to see what you guys are doing. You could come in here and see how many are being sent out, and you can kind of give yourself a little screenshot of what's going on with your business. As you go through this email, you're going to go ahead and see your web activity for registered clients. So any client who has signed up with your website, you can see what they're doing. If they favored anything, they've looked at any properties. So it helps you to say, hey, you know what, let me reach out to this buyer or this seller and say, hey, you know, I mean, if you don't want to be like, hey, I've been watching you, it looks kind of sounds creepy sometimes, but you can say, hey, it's touching base with you to let you see how you're doing. This way you can engage them and have that opportunity to maybe take them out to show some homes. As you scroll, unfortunately, some people will unsubscribe from you. I really encourage you not to dwell on the unsubscribe. If you have 5,000 people and only 30 people have unsubscribed, I really encourage you to think about the people who have not unsubscribed and really work with them. Some people unfortunately unsubscribe. Even my own mother has unsubscribed from my own email systems, but my sales manager, Brock, she has not. So she receives all his emails. So I do dwell on that one. As you scroll down, if you are using the system for the upcoming event task, this system will remind you what tasks you have available to do in the next 7 days. You will see home anniversaries and birthdays. So this gives you a little screenshot. This also, I love, saves you time in the sense of you see what you need to do for the day. If by chance there's nothing to do, then you will be able to not worry about logging into the VEC. You will then go off and prospect and enjoy your day. Is there any questions on this?
I had a question, just what a code meant on there at the top. What is YNU?
That one is a new one that has not been given the description. And I actually thought the same thing, and I just put a request in to find out what that is.
Okay.
I saw it and I was like, no clue what that one is. Because it does give you a description, guys, down here at the bottom, and it's not one of the descriptions. So I had to reach out to the developer and say, hey, you stumped me on this one. I'm supposed to know everything here, but apparently I don't get to know that one.
So, Chris, can you
Yeah.
explain if the agent doesn't want to see this activity report, how to turn it off?
I would prefer not to teach you guys, but I definitely will. If you guys do not want to receive these anymore, you're more than welcome to go into your VAC system, come to the right-hand corner where your profile is, click on your profile button again. You will scroll down past your picture, past your logo, past your about me, and you will come past where your email signature is, and it should be right here. Because I am on my education training one, I don't have the ability, but it will be right here for you guys. And it will say, do you want to enable or the report? If you hit no, you will not receive them anymore.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You could turn it on and off, I suppose, as you start using the VAC more and more.
I really would recommend you guys keeping it on if you're going to use the VAC, because as you start to use the VAC and maybe by chance you make yourself a information, you might end up forgetting to go back and turn it back on. I do understand and that you might getting a ton of emails and it might be a little irritating and stuff, but I definitely recommend keeping it on if you can. I like it. It's a motivational thing for myself. Is just to motivate myself. If I don't have any tasks or anything going on that day, it might motivate you to go ahead and set up some reports, set up some stuff. So it's up to you. But we definitely want to be your cheerleaders and help you build your business to the next level. So again, you can turn it on or off, but I just don't recommend it. I say keep it on. Is there a question in the chat room? Let me see if
A comment, maybe YNU is year-end update.
That could be it, but I'm gonna definitely get that answer for you guys.
Yep.
All right, guys. So I really wanted to help you guys out with understanding, we have a lot of opportunities out there right now. Just figuring out how to seize those opportunities is where our challenges are. So I definitely wanted to show you guys, we have the buy-side system, and I should be a national spokesperson for them, and I should own stock in the company. I really have embraced the buy-side account and really have gone ahead and used it to help my business. So I wanted to show you guys some tricks that I use to build my business, and hopefully out of the couple tricks that I teach you today, maybe you will use them for your business. So by the way, guys, so buy-side is actually a third-party vendor program. You can find that in your VEC system right here on your tile. When you click on the buy-side account, you're going to go ahead and find your account. And I'm not going to necessarily go through everything. I'm just going to give you some pointers. I do teach a buy-side class once or twice a month. So definitely look at your calendars. The calendars just came out for you guys through Lorette Mormon. Also, the calendar is in the BEC calendar system, so you guys can see it that way. To help you better understand how the buy-side system works is it has different opportunities for you. One opportunity is it gives you a home evaluation website. If you go under your marketing tab, then marketing suite, you can go to what's called preview my site. And you have what's called your own buy-side, what is my home worth? This is a great tool to use what's called a call to action. So in all my postcards, I have it where, do you want to know what your home's worth? Go to my buy-side account. And I'll show you guys a mock-up of my postcard in just a minute. This is a great way of, if you've ever sent out postcards or send out any marketing and you're like, I didn't get any response from it, I use this system to make sure that people are my postcards got sent out, that people are looking at stuff. So I have a call to action. So one thing I would really recommend you guys is to really embrace this program and want to use it. So here's some examples of how I use the system. First thing I did was I went ahead and through GoDaddy, I bought a web domain called ievalues.com. It was $11.99 for the first year, and then after that was $17.99. I didn't need email. I don't need security. I don't need any of the extra bells and whistles that GoDaddy asks you to buy. And then I reached out to the educator, which now I am the educator, and I programmed it to be forwarded to my buy-side account. Because with your buy-side accounts, your domain name is BHHS CA Properties.findbuyers.com / then your email address. Could you imagine putting that on a postcard? You can, but just to kind of have it short and sweet, mine is ievalues.com, and it goes to this website. What then I do is I advertise that on everything, postcards, anything I can, I go ahead and advertise that. Also, what I do is on all my postcards. So I'm closing, guys, on a listing today in Whittier. I'm the actual buyer agent, and I'm going to send out a postcard saying that I represented the buyer. And on my postcards, and sorry for the proof here, I have a little thing here that just says the real estate market is in your area is alive and well. Increasing home values and low interest rates are creating a vibrant atmosphere for both sellers and buyers. Find out how many buyers are looking for homes like yours at ievalues.com. And so then people will go ahead and will go on there. They'll put their home address on there. And what's really cool about this system is that when they put their home address, you will be notified that somebody at 123 Main Street has checked their home evaluation. It will give the customer the opportunity to either provide your information or not provide you information. So it's not going to be so aggressive to where it scares them off. And then you will go ahead and decide to start reaching out to that customer. So that's one opportunity. So on all my just listed, just sold, buyer or listing agent, I send out a postcard to everybody in that farm area. And I do this for about 3 to 4 months after I sold the property, or I just continually do it for the rest of, until I'm gonna retire from the real estate business. So this is a great opportunity, guys, to stay in touch with them. I also, with all my actual farms, I consistently send out postcards, emails with the help of wonderful Michelle, have received my emails. I send out email notifications and neighborhood reports. Neighborhood reports, guys, I actually got this buyer from neighborhood reports. It was actually a family friend of my seller who I sold a home to. They provided the buy-side, the neighborhood report to their family member, and they called me and said, we're interested in buying a home. So this is a great opportunity for you. Any questions so far?
I just have a comment. I think that changing the web address to something other than the address that looks like it's going straight to you, Chris, is really key here, because I think most consumers would say, oh, they just want me to go to their website. This looks something different when you disguise it as IE values. They think they're not going straight to you. They're going to a place that's going to give them the information. So I like that.
Yeah. I have many, guys. I mean, I went crazy and bought like 17 different domain names. I don't recommend getting that crazy like I did. But if you're going to be the area specialist, maybe you want to be the French Valley homeevaluations.com, Marietta homeevaluations.com, Temecula homevalues.com. What is it? Chardonnay Hills, I think it is. You could be the expert. And so I have different subdivisions and different neighborhoods that I've bought in the domains for them. And I consistently use that as their area domain name. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you know what? It's better to try than not try at all. I see some chats, so we're gonna try our best to answer those for you. That search bar that you have is the standard for buy side. I'm assuming you're talking about this right here. Yes, this is the standard. Great question. That's the standard one. So if somebody puts in their home address, let me show you guys real quick. It's going to go ahead and show you guys what the home is worth, and then I will receive an email saying that somebody at 510 Fornland Avenue has checked their home evaluations. It takes a few seconds sometimes. They're trying to generate all the information for you. Other question we have, let me try to get down in that little tool belt thing. Chris, please contact me. I will do my best for you. So this is what your consumer will see. And you'll see right here, guys, we have actual little areas where they can fill out their information. I had a gentleman who actually filled this out when I first started marketing this like 4 or 5 years ago. And I just sold his house last year when he did the monthly, because it sends them a monthly, kind of like the same thing as neighborhood reports. So it's just a great tool that you can use on, we have so many, I call it the MacGyver of real estate bag, where we give you so much stuff to offer you. Do you have to use everything? I would love you to, but you don't have to. Just use what you feel is best for your business. But this is a great opportunity for your clients to see kind of what homes are worth in their area. And it just, and again, it's trying to help you guys have you contact them. So it's just different ways of doing it. Now, I'm gonna teach you guys a little social media tricks real quick. Let me close out some stuff real quick and get back into my BC buy side. If you have what's called a coming soon, okay, so we're gonna reinsure you guys on this. If you have a coming soon and it's registered to the MLS, you can go ahead and advertise it on social media. And I made sure I asked Mr. Joe, because he is the expert on this. So this is who we went to make sure. And he gave me some great pointers. So thank you, Joe, for that. You guys are in good hands down there.
Wow.
What I would really recommend all of you guys to do is put your coming soons in here. Let people know that you have a new listing. And all you do is click on add listing. And definitely come to my buy-side class. I'll definitely walk you through that. But what you will do is, when you click on your coming soon, this is the coming soon that I have. Up here, right here, guys, you will see where it says view share public page. If you click on that, you actually get a page that is a coming soon listing. Now remember, guys, you can't show your listings until it's actually active. So you might get people who ask you for, you know, can I show your property? Can I see the property before it's, no, we're just taking an interest list right now is what I call it. But you can go ahead, guys, and right here, you can add it to Facebook. You could go ahead and add it to Facebook. If you have a picture, it's going to show your picture there. And this is a great way of just having what I call your interest, you know, we're forming an interest page that, you know, hey, we'll let you know when it's, hey, it's coming out on the 5th. We'll let everybody know about scheduling time, let your agents know, you know, please let me know if you're working with an agent. But this will show your seller, hey, you're doing your best to get the information out there. And also help you generate leads with it. You also, I would really recommend, guys, with you having your buyers right now, a lot of you have buyer needs. I would highly recommend putting your buyer needs in here. And what I do is I go ahead and go into my buyer need, and you will see where it says social media. I'll go ahead and show you what it's called. The public is right here, the public profile. What's really cool about this, guys, is if you are having a hard time finding a property for your clients, I'm moving my Zoom thing, sorry guys. And what I'm doing right now is I'm going ahead and putting in my buyer needs in here. It's only going to give the potential seller a little bit of information. If they want more information, they're going to contact you. So what I really recommend and what I've been doing is I go to Facebook, I post this to my business page, and it's going to give you this little cute couple looking for their future home. And it will say, thinking of selling, I have buyers. And when somebody clicks on here, it will take them to their ID account. And what's really cool is it's not going to show them any of the buyer's information. So this way, if a potential seller wants to sell their home, they can go on there and let you know, hey, I'm interested in selling my home. I've actually had realtors from other companies reach out to me and say, hey, Chris, I have a coming soon that matches your buyer criteria. We're going to start showing on Friday. Do you want to schedule an appointment? Hey, let me send me some pictures. Let me go call my client right now. So it's helped me stay in touch with the market and stuff. So this is another great idea for you guys to use this social media tool to help you find listings or leads. Just, it might not be that listing, or to help your buyers find a property. I really recommend guys putting your buyer needs in here. Any questions on any of that? Any chats? Awesome. All right, here's another little trick, and then we'll have a Q&A, and then I think you guys will be ready for lunch and everything. So what I really recommend, guys, if you're having a hard time with your marketing and trying to figure a way to generate business, another thing that I've done is with the buy side account, excuse me as I get some water, thank you, is I come in here and I look under find buyers. This is not for you to find a buyer to work with. This is just to find a buyer for your listings. So what I have done is I will come in here and I will look up one of the cities. Let's say I am gonna farm in a particular area of Temecula in a 92590 zip code. When I click on there and hit search, so I'm in find buyers, I put my information in here, hit search. I can go ahead and run a postcard that says, hey, there's 4 buyers looking to buy a home in your area. Are you interested in selling your home? And I would put that on my postcards and then put in my IEvalues.com. Find out if these buyers match your criteria. Let's go into another zip code to see if we can find a little bit more. This one has 9 buyers. So I can say, hey, are you interested in selling your home? There's 9 buyers that are looking in the 92591 zip code. To find out if your home matches their needs, go to IEvalues.com. That is a great opportunity on all your postcards, which would be a great call to action for you. Any questions? I hope those are little tricks of the trade that can help you guys today. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask. If not, Joe, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Hey, fantastic. Chris, thanks for the tips on that. There's just so much to learn with the VAC and so many ways to generate business from it. And so we appreciate your insight on that. Appreciate your commitment to being there for us week in and week out for the sessions. Again, I encourage you, if you haven't been on one of the sessions at all or recently, join. One of the beautiful things about the VAC that Mark has created for us is they are constantly making improvements and enhancements to the system. And so you may have seen it 3 months ago, but it's different today. So join back in. I know lots of opportunities to learn. Just make sure that you're using the VAC to further your business as much as you can. So thanks, Chris, for taking the time out today to join us for a little bit. We appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning for our special region-wide meeting here in the Temecula Valley, our special meeting, our special guests. Of course, Jody and Harmony, and as always, Michelle Markham, they're supporting us. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shannon, Carol Roundsley.
Thank you.
We appreciate you all. Chris Lamry, we appreciate you helping us out in Menifee. But have a great week, everyone, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Bye.